You've heard of unconditional love, but have you heard of the secret to unconditional happiness and allowing more into your life? More wealth, more success, and more love. More freedom in your life right now. Welcome to the Happy Bar with Israel Savage. In our improvisation classes, we're fond of saying, how you do anything is how you do everything. It's so true. It's one of the things I appreciate most about life, that the lessons I learn in one area can be transferred to another. It's very efficient and very powerful. And so I'm speaking to you today about some lessons learned in improvisation training that can be applied to living. To improvised living. Often we say to our actors that connection is the most important thing. In fact, we talk about 3 points of connection before any scene begins, or you might say as it's beginning. The first point of connection for our improvisation actors is to connect with their own emotions. In other words, to just be in touch with how they are feeling. Now, they don't need to be able to consciously label that feeling as sadness or anger or ennui. Sometimes by trying to figure out how to verbalize, how to conceptualize, how to communicate with words what you are feeling, you take yourself out of the moment. You become a psychologist. Instead, we just want you to be in touch with those feelings. And so I might, when I ask myself, how am I feeling, answer with, right? Now, I felt something in that, and it was very layered. And if I had to dissect it with words, it would take quite a while. We don't need words. All we need is the connection. That's the first point of contact. The second point of contact is with our environment. In improvisation, because you have no props, you have every prop. In other words, we work with space objects like a mime. And so I can have a teacup or I can have a tiara, whatever it is that I can discover in my environment, I can have. In exploring this invisible world, as I interact with each object, each activity, as I make my coffee with my invisible cup and my invisible sugar, I want to allow it to affect me, to allow myself to connect emotionally with these objects. There's nothing that feels more specific and better to me than holding a hot cup of Earl Grey tea staring out a window on a cold New York day. Smelling the smells of the Earl Grey tea and feeling the heat from the steam on my face and just lingering there. That conjures a certain feeling for me. As we interact with these objects, we want to explore them with all of our senses, including our sixth sense, our emotional sense. The third point of contact is with your scene partner. Once you have connected with your own emotions, once you've connected in the environment of the scene or with objects in the environment of your scene, then we turn our attention to our scene partner and we make eye contact. And we hold that eye contact 3 counts longer than is comfortable. And there are 2 connections that are happening in that moment. The first connection is character to character. And there's only one thing you need to know emotionally. Does this person, as a character, make me feel better or worse? That's it. That's all you need to know. Does this person make me feel better or worse? That's the characters discovering how they feel about each other. Equally important, or maybe more important, is the connection between the actors. And what's being communicated in that sustained eye contact, that sustained energy exchange, is this. I've got your back. You can count on me. And you hold that eye contact as long as it takes for you to believe that your fellow actor believes that you've got their back. It might be 3 seconds, it might be 4, it might be 10. All the while continuing your object work. You're interacting in the physical environment. You want to continue that interaction because how you do anything is how you do everything. And if you freeze physically, then you're going to freeze emotionally. And so keep moving physically in the environment as you hold that eye contact. And then return to your object work. And now you're cooking. You're cooking with gas, as they say. Now, moment by moment, you can discover what happens next. And the answer to what happens next is not in your head. It's not a thought. The answer is in your scene partner's eyes. Now, we like to get ahead of ourselves. Our brains want to survey the land. It wants to send out scouts to see what is potentially psychologically or physically dangerous ahead of us, and then plot out a course for us so that we can avoid anything that might be uncomfortable in any way. They want to protect us the way that a doting mother might, an overprotective mother might, a mother smotherer might protect us. But that's no fun. And that is not what we came here for. You don't need to know what happens 30 seconds from now or a minute from now in a scene or in life. All you need to know is what's in front of you, and you will have the answer to what happens next exactly when you need it. It's like a staircase that appears as you put your foot out to take the step. It's like that Indiana Jones movie when the bridge reveals itself as you run across. You can drive all the way from one side of the country to another at night with your lights off, only seeing 10 feet in front of you. You don't need to know what's happening a mile up the road or 2 miles up the road or 3 miles up the road. In fact, knowing that information would just overwhelm you, fill you with anxiety, distract you from enjoying the ride, enjoying the journey. All you need to know is what's right in front of you. And if there is a curve ahead, or a dangerous, treacherous road, or a detour, you'll know what to do when you come upon that moment. And you'll have the resources that you need to handle it. One of the reasons why we become so anxious when we project ourselves into our future, into our idea of what hazards lie ahead, is that there is a difference, a disconnect between our future projection and the resources we have available now. You see, as you grow, as you move through life or move through a scene, step by step, moment by moment, you are different. Imagine if you had to tackle some of the challenges and issues and obstacles in your life today with the resources you had back when you were 10 years old, or 12 years old, or 15 years old, or 20 years old, or 30 years old, etc., etc. As we grow, we learn, we change, we develop, we expand. And so no wonder you're filled with fear thinking about something that hasn't happened yet. But rest assured, the you of the future, when those circumstances happen, if they even happen, will know exactly what to do. Just like the you of now knows what to do step by step, turn by turn with what's in front of you. It's all you need. And so how can we apply some of the lessons learned about emotionally connecting in improvisation to our lives, to connecting with everything it is that we want in life, to the physically having of everything it is that we want in life? How can we get from where we are now to where we want to be? Well, it's all the same, as you might have guessed. And it is truly all about connecting. And so what are we connecting with? Well, first, we are making space, making mental space. In other words, we want to put our focus on one good feeling thing. That might be as simple as our breathing. You know, when we exercise, we do this automatically. We focus on our breathing, or we focus on counting the repetitions or the sound, the hum of the treadmill under our feet. When we're showering, we focus on the feeling and the sound of the water, and our brain is emptied. And all we have emotionally is a feeling of peace, of well-being, of vitality, good feelings. And so it's no accident that it's during these times that we often receive our light bulb moments. You know, those inspired ideas where we know we must take action. We are getting in a good feeling place with the absence of mental resistance. And because we're in this good feeling place, we receive a thought that feels good feeling in a similar way. All your dreams are right there with you right now. Everything you ever wanted or will want is everything you've wanted or have everything you've ever wanted, you have access to. But it's like this. Imagine if there were $1 million check placed on a shelf that was 10 feet in the air. So close. But most of us couldn't reach that check. Most of us wouldn't even see that check. It's up so high. And so it would stay there. This thing that many of us desire, a $1 million check, would be a nice thing to have. But it will stay on that top shelf, out of reach, and collecting dust forever. Unless, what? Unless we grab a ladder and climb up that ladder so that we can align ourselves with where that check exists. And then we only have to reach out and claim it. Are you getting where I'm going here? Vibrationally speaking, we have to line up with the things we want. We have to get in a similarly good feeling place. We have to feel prosperous, feel abundant, feel sought after, feel competent, feel in charge, feel a sense of ease, feel in love, before we will receive the thoughts that will lead us to the things that we want. They're all up on those shelves for us to collect. You just have to line up with it. It's as simple as that. Another way to look at this might be to look at it like a radio frequency, right? You would never tune in to 97.5 and expect to hear what's playing on 101.5. The same airwaves are flowing through our air, overlapping each other, mixing together, always. However, we have to tune ourselves in. We have to tune our radio dial in to hear what we want to hear. It's always there, but it's our choice to tune in. Now, having said that, think of this radio as being in a car that's moving. And we know that radio frequencies come in and out. And so you can't tune yourself once and for all. It's a constant tuning that happens. It's a constant adjusting as your desires change, as your goals change. You want to be constantly tuning in to what it is that you want. And when I say tuning in, I mean vibrationally, emotionally, getting yourself tuned in to the feelings that you want to have. This is the secret to everything. And it's not really a secret. It was something you were born knowing how to do. This really just requires a remembering on your part. How you do anything is how you do everything. It's all about connecting. It's all about tuning in to receive your power. If you liked what you just heard, then take inspired action now. That's right, act while you are feeling good. And build on your momentum. Schedule your free discovery call with me at instudios-nyc.com/happybar.